Today we're going to be doing another experimental video. I'm really excited about this one. It's about the effects of pH on your water depending on the hardness that you've got. So without any further ado, let's get to it. All right everyone, so as you can see here, I have 3 jugs, all measuring the same amount. I have 800 milliliters of water in all 3 of these. So the right one is just pure RO water. Got that from my bottle right here. The second one is a mixture of half RO water and half tap water. And then this one is just my regular, really hard tap water. So what we're going to do today is use these test strips by Tetra. I'm not going to use liquid or anything like that. I don't need it to be that specific. I think these test strips are going to do just fine just to measure the pH level. So I'm going to get a reading before I put Botanicals in these jugs, and then I will take a reading after a few days once the Botanicals have been in the jugs for a little while. Okay, so as you can see here, we have 3 test strips, and it's fascinating already to see some of the results. Now, the camera is never going to pick up the colors as well as I can see them with my eye, but just as a rough guide, what we're looking at is the pH here, the red line here, all the way to 6.4. So as you can see, the one on the right, we are looking at roughly the yellow line, 6.4. Second one, what do you reckon, about 6.8. And then this one here, we are looking at about 7.6. So pretty impressive diversity. And the one thing I will point out is, look, nitrate in my water. So this is always something to bear in mind when you use water from your taps, is that they will have some level of nitrate in the water. So this is what we're going to be using today is alder cones. Now many of you have seen them. They a pretty staple botanical in the aquarium hobby. Lots of people use them mainly for like betta fish and shrimp and various things like that. Great little grazing place for biofilms to grow on, etc. So for the sake of the experiment though, I'm going to be using crushed alder cones, and they are going to be in the form of these little tea bags here. So I'm just going to pop one of these in each of these jugs and leave it for a little while, and then we'll come back in a day or so and see the results from the tea bags. I should point out before we carry on that this is not hot water. Now normally with botanicals you'd boil the water just to sort of get rid of any contaminants, but I'm not actually putting this water in any aquariums. This is just purely for a test, and it's going to take a little bit longer because we're using colder water and we're not using hot water to get those tannins sort of releasing quickly. So it will take a little bit longer, but the results should be exactly the same. All right everyone, so it has been officially 24 hours now, and look at the lovely tannin stained water that these tea bags produce. Now I can't compare the old readings for the pH level and everything on my test strips, because if you notice, test strips dry out, so the readings are just all mute. So what we're going to do is do a quick test with some new strips and check the water parameters, and then we'll cross-reference them with the readings that we got last time. Right, okay, so here's the readings then. So we've got the tap water right here once again. We've got the mix of RO and tap water here, and we've just got the RO water. So going ahead, looks like from my eyes that the pH on this is 7.2, would you say? I'd probably say with my eyes, yeah, probably about 7.2. Next up, we have the yellow. It's a 6.4, and again this one is a bit more of a brighter yellow, so I'd say once again 6.4. Now that's really interesting because once again, if you're using really hard tap water, you can see how little effect the pH actually moves compared to say ones which have a more sort of less hardness to them. If you're enjoying this kind of content, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Right, let's get back to the action. Alright everyone, so it's been a whole week now, 7 days since we first put the tea bags into the jugs. And first of all, look at the amazing tea stained colour, and secondly, let's get some test strips out and see what the pH level is now that it's been a week. Alright then, so it's been a few minutes and these are the results. So once again, if you can see with the light, we are looking at this row here, my thumb. I'd say that this is probably, to my eye, a 6.8. Looks a little bit different on camera, but I'd say that the pH is 6.8 on this one. This one, we have a 6.4 because it's the very yellow one there. And also on this one it is a 6.4 as well. So it seems like both the RO water and the mix of tap and RO seem to have dropped the pH right down to 6.4, but the tap water, or the water from my tap here, doesn't make too much of a dramatic difference there. I think it's pretty safe to assume that when using botanicals in your aquarium, it does affect the pH no matter how much or how little botanicals that you put into the water. And also, I think it's safe to assume that depending on the type of water you have, also affects the speed in which the pH changes. So for example, in my situation, the pH seemed to have sort of gone a lot slower when I have my tap water, yet when it was put into RO water or just a mix, so a little bit more softer, then the pH level dropped a bit more dramatically. So it's something to bear in mind that if you are in an area with really soft water, or you're using RO water or something like that, then the pH in your tank is going to drop quicker than it would in an area which has more harder water. So it's something to bear in mind that if you are adding botanicals, just take it slow. If you enjoy experimental videos, make sure you go check out another one that I did a few weeks back on the effects of leaves and tannins in aquariums, right here. And until next time, you stay safe.